This is a WEG CFW100 inverter drive, and this is a 3-phase electric motor. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up the inverter to enable or disable power on start. Hello, I'm Simon from the Inverter Drive Supermarket, and this video covers power on start, a feature which causes the inverter to run the motor whenever it has power. There are potential safety issues with this, which is why we'll cover disabling this feature too. Before we start with the configuration, the inverter should be properly installed and commissioned. To see how this is done, you can watch part 1 in our CFW100 video series. So, assuming that the inverter is fully commissioned, we can begin. In both cases, we need a speed set point. There are various ways to do this, but to keep things simple, I'll use P133, which is the minimum speed. In the absence of any other speed set point, this is the speed the motor will accelerate to when it has a run command. So press P to access the parameter list, and then use the up and down keys to locate parameter P133. Press P again to select the value and set it as needed. For this example, I'm going to set it to 40 Hz. Press P to save the changes. I'm going to add a simple run switch between I/O terminals 1 and 5. Terminal 1 is digital input 1, and terminal 5 is the common 0-volt ground for this. Check that the switch is in the off position before continuing to the next step. Now the switch has been added, the inverter needs to be configured to use it. Navigate to P220, the local remote selection source. Press P to edit the value. The default of 0 is always local, which means that the motor control is via the buttons on the front of the inverter. Change the value to 1 for always remote, so control will be via the I/O terminals or an option module if fitted. Press P to save the changes. Next, navigate to P227 and press P to edit the value. The default value is 1, which means the inverter is expecting a run-stop signal from one of the digital inputs. Our switch is wired to digital input 1, so this is what we want. Press P to return to the parameter list. All that remains is to set which digital input will be used for the run-stop signal, and importantly, which type of run-stop we want. Navigate to P263, the digital input 1 function. Press P to select the value. The default is 1, which is run-stop. This sounds good, so let's try it out. Use the switch to start the motor. The motor accelerates to the minimum speed of 40 Hz. Now we can simulate a power outage by cutting power to the inverter. The display shows an F021 fault, meaning an undervoltage on the DC bus has been detected. This is to be expected. We've removed the power supply, so the voltage inside the inverter will drop until it reaches 0. Okay, now it's off. I'm going to leave it for a while and turn it back on. The inverter automatically starts the motor and it accelerates to the minimum speed of 40 Hz as before. This behaviour might be desirable in some applications, but in other applications it may not, and in some cases could even be dangerous. So if we return to parameter P263, we can change the value from 1 for run stop to 55 for run stop with line start lockout. Now let's start the motor again and see what's changed. The motor accelerates to 40 Hz as before. Let's cut the power again. There's no need to wait this time. As you can see, when power is restored, the motor doesn't start. In order to start it, we first need to set the switch to the stop position, then switch it back to run. The motor restarts. Where this behaviour is preferred, it's more common to use 3-wire control with push buttons. The configuration of this is covered in part 3 of our CFW100 video series, if you want to see how it's done. Thanks for watching. If you found this short video useful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as we really appreciate your support. See you next time. This video is for educational purposes only. Always follow official manufacturer documentation and safety instructions.